Anyway, all right. So Jess and I are pairing again on Thursday, and something we've been talking about doing after this round of tweaks that I've mentioned a few times on Twitter and in the Shifty Bits newsletter is it'd be nice if this generated pest tests. Of course. I was generated this for the workbench the other day. Jess made some tweaks, kind of commented some areas where like we could probably make it a little bit cooler about what it generated and some of the assertions and setup code that comes across, which we did. We finished that up in our last pairing session. Jess was kind of working on that last week. But yeah, I think it'd be nice to generate a pest test for this instead. So let's just
Good.
take a half hour. We hit the record button. We'll kind of see what we can do here. So I think the most naive approach would be to come in here and create like a .pest stub, right?
Yep.
And just like see how far we can get. What
Okay.
I'll do on my screen
hmm
is I will copy this test, the test itself, and turn that into a pest version, a pest expectation test, right?
Okay. Yep.
If you can take this and make the fixture for it on your side. So we won't necessarily record that part because we'll be able to see the expected output in a minute. But because
hmm
that'll probably take a few minutes, let's divide and conquer real quick, and then we'll come back into the pairing once this test is failing, and we can take, then you can kind of make it pass.
I dig it.
Just for the recording, I'll keep chatting while Jess is doing that in the background. And let's say it generates a pest test for a resource controller. All right. And so what we need to do is we need to trigger a way in which um, we need to make, I don't want to make the test generator configurable like from the UI. I just want it to be kind of intelligent and know that, hey, we should generate pest tests. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to sniff out if you have a pest dependency in your project already. And if you do, then the assumption is you're going to want pest tests.
Yep.
So we will do it that way. And we could obviously read the composer file and do all that stuff. But since we're probably going to want to know this for other parts of this shift, I'm going to make the assumption that at this point, we already know this and we have kind of stored this off into like a shared flag. And the way we do that with shift is we just have this like shared data method. And so we'll pass it shared data, and then like using pest or something can just be the key. It's just a little key value store. And here we'll return, true. It doesn't even really matter what it returns because, you know, the fact that this key exists is really going to be enough. But we'll return true. We'll get fancy here with the mockery and return true explicit response there. So now we need to review this a little bit. So I don't think any of the commands that we run or any of the route list action stuff is going to change because the controller itself, its metadata is all exactly the same. What will change, so all this directory mocking and so forth, all that should stay the same. The put file contents, resource controller test. This will probably need to change. I'm going to change this to .pest.php and drop the .inc.
Drop ink. Okay.
Where did I miss the stubs? It should read the stubs. File get contents, base path resource stubs test.stub. For a pest, or well, I guess we would have a, would we? Would we have a stub? Because I mean, really the stub for us now is like the class itself. Do we even need that? Or would it just be empty?
So show me what it looks like.
Oh, sorry. So like this just throws in, like we don't
Yeah.
even
The only
need
I guess.
this.
Yeah, we only need the stub for the individual test case or the tests themselves.
Yeah, and if we did have traits or uses, we would just kind of prepin them to that content at the end.
Hmm.
So I don't even think we need the test stub.
Yeah, true.
for Pest. So there you go. There's a good example of how Pest is, a little more streamlined. But we will have a test case.pest stub, and that'll be the little it wrapper.
Well, to that point, are we using it or test or configurable?
It or test. Oh, like for the method?
Yeah, for the method name. Because you know how, like in Pest, you can say test and then the thing, or you can say it and then the thing.
I
And
would
I
say
think
it, right? Aren't we already generating stuff with it?
for the current tests. So the current tests are
Yeah.
using the test annotation.
Test annotation. Oh, well, yeah, sure. But I mean, like, the way we generate stuff would align with it, like, or well, no, it
Oh
would
yeah,
align more with
no, it
test, I
doesn't.
guess.
No, it actually works better with test because it's like test update returns an OK response versus
Okay.
it update returns an OK response. So in that case,
Do we
test
even
should
need
be
the
standard.
test case stub then? Because it's always going to be a closure with test and then the words in it. Or do we? Do we want to do
There's
that and
not,
then
yeah,
string?
there's
I
not
mean, we
much to
probably
it, but
should.
yeah,
I think we'll see. We'll see.
okay.
Anyway, I made a test case pest stub in the resources. So if you want to make this file real quick with a test placeholder for the, you know, test description and then a fixture,
Resources stubs test
or sorry, not fixture, function closure, empty closure.
test stub. And what was the placeholder for the test name so that you can string replace it?
Oh, it's whatever you want. There isn't. I don't think there is one in existence because we
How
generated
does it
on the
work
fly.
for the? Oh, really? Okay.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we could look at the test case stub, dummy method name.
Dummy method name. Okay.
Fixture. Okay, so let me just review this real quick. Okay, so we're gonna have shared data and say using pest true, and then this is the one that I can share up here with the by default. I can come up here and say shared data using pest return false by default. And the by default just allows me to do what it says, return this by default, and then but it allows me to remock it later on. So in our case, this time it'll return true. I think everything else stays the same. We're really just changing the input and the fixtures, in this case the stubs, and then of course the output. So I think this is good enough. I'm gonna commit this. Oh crap, I should have cut a new branch. Did you already make a branch or no?
No, I haven't made a branch yet.
All right, git checkout dash b generate pest tests. All right, GST. Let's just quickly review all the craziness we did. Okay, so we shared data, returned false by default. We moved the actual pulling of the individual stubs to ideally the tests which use them. So that's the unique controller generation and the original resource controller generation. And we've copied this to now be a pest test where we now return shared data true and we only look for the test case .pest.stub and we of course get that right back. The rest should be the same, of course, other than the resource test.pest.php file, which Jess has been working on her side, and we're about to see that ourselves here. So I'm going to say yes, git commit -m, whip. It's just a straight whip. We're going all whip. Git push origin head. All
Kind of
right.
needs to do whip when you're pairing. Like
For this, yeah, for this where we
hopping
bounced it
backwards
back and
forwards.
forth, I would have
Yeah.
probably said whip TDD or TDD whatever without the whip, but yeah. I'm going to stop sharing and let you take over.
What was the branch name? Sorry.
Oh, generate pest tests. There it is.
Oh, it's right there. Awesome.
Go. Go.
Go. Get out. Like check out, but out. So yeah.
Wow.
Because C is already used.
I get it. So, I get it.
All right. So we've got
there it is.
generates a pest test. And so if we go down to our test case.pest.stub and we jump to this, it should have what I did. Cool. So
That's
this
it.
is all we need, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty straightforward.
You might need check the other stub. You might need a placeholder of like the slash dot 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 to like put the body. I can't remember.
True. Test
We want to
case.
mimic it as much as possible because I think that's going to help us. Yeah,
Yeah.
we might need that.
Good
I just
call.
want to mimic it because that way it's less we have to do like if statements in our code of like if pest, then replace this thing. So
Yeah. So in that one, we do have the correct indentation for that. So I'll keep
yeah,
that there.
yeah, let's keep that.
So if we now go to our
We really this theoretically should run other than the fact that we don't call the shared stuff. We should be seeing errors in my opinion. But yeah, if you
okay.
want to show this, go for
So I'll
it.
go to this one now. It should be there. Oops, this one. All right. So it looks a little bit funny because as with the other one, the
Yeah.
indentation and everything is run using, was it CS Fixer?
Yeah.
So this needs to match the like what it's gonna output before that runs. But yeah, basically I've just gone through all of the tests that we previously had in our PHP unit one and added this in front of the test and
Yeah.
also this at the end, and then just remove the
So I
underscores from
think
here.
I think for today this is great. Ideally though, we may go so far as to make some of these things a little more like idiomatic pest as we
Yeah.
as we, you know, carry this
Oh,
on.
100%. Yeah. Because at the moment, all
Yeah.
it's doing is like changing the wrapper. Like it's not
Yeah. I think for today this is a
all of.
great goal because then theoretically we could launch, but yes, then we could make it more idiomatic
Yeah.
pest for like the expectations itself. But this is a good MVP kind of
We can
starting.
call this and all that sort of stuff, can't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. So, all right, let's
Let's
run
see
it and
where we
see
are.
how much it explodes. All right. So it's
So
still
the shared
calling
data,
that one.
yeah. If you were expecting the shared data one to start, it didn't because we did that by default.
Yes. Gotcha. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So if we go into the controller tests now, actually, let me just find out what it was. Data using pest return true. Okay, cool. So at the not right at the start, we can probably get
Yeah.
all of our routes and all those things. We can work out our namespaces and our routes. All right, so it's when we get down to these templates. So I guess like the kind of crude way would be to say, what was the name of the
Using pest.
So I'll pop it in here for now, but we might want to extract it to be a property on this. But we can say using
Yeah.
pest is shift. Is it get shared data? I can never remember now. Where does
Shared data, yeah.
Shared data.
Should be, yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Using pest. All right. So we can say if I don't like having like the PHP unit as the else case, but kind of what we got at the moment.
Oh, I
This
gotcha.
would be interesting because we don't have a test template. We
Could
may
make it
still
just an
want
empty
one.
string. Yeah.
Yeah. So like the only reason I say we may still want one is because if we look at the test stub,
Ooh, you know what it needs to be?
this
It
like
needs to be the
test
open
cases.
tag. It needs to
Oh,
exist.
it does.
It needs
Yeah,
to at
and I
least be a
reckon it
PHP
needs
open tag.
this little test cases ...
Probably.
I think
Yeah.
we use that. All right, so if we just
Yeah.
copy those up
See what
there
happens
for
when you try
now.
to get fancy, people?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
try to be like, oh, we don't need it. Let's get fancy. We don't have to worry about it for pests. No.
Test case dot pest dot stub. Test case dot pest dot stub and test dot pest dot stub.
All right. What do we
All
have
right,
now?
so run it again. Alrighty, so we're already down to the part now where it's trying to create the test.
Okay.
And it's failing.
Part of my Zoom was in the way.
So this is interesting. It's tried to write the test file with literally just test cases and nothing else.
Okay.
So I think the logic in here that's like working out where to insert each test is not working.
Okay.
So
So I think we need to go down. Yeah, if we do this for just
this
right
should
now
work.
to hack
Yeah,
it, like I think we'll start seeing tests. Now they're gonna look a little funky, but we should start seeing
yeah.
them. We can prove that real quick.
All right, so if we have a look at that,
So now it's not getting the inner
it's not
portion
getting the body at all, but we're getting all of our
because
test
it's probably the
cases.
same issue. It's probably looking
Yeah,
for
probably. Yep,
a double indent.
yep. But that's looking like pretty cool so far. Like obviously we've got to get
Yeah.
rid of those underscores, but I'm pretty happy with that already. Yeah, exactly. Double.
Let's extract that into a method much like we did the other one. That way we can clean this up.
Yeah, that's a good call. So this will be this test.
Test
We have on
body
test case.
placeholder.
Yeah, that'll do for now.
Yeah, I mean, again, this doesn't have to be pretty right now. Let's just get to where we want to get.
Yeah. All right. So we've got the test case placeholder and the test body placeholder. So that will fail still. All right. So I guess
So I
like
think
the
to
first
make
step is like,
this all three of these methods right here that I'm seeing in front of us, all of these are going to now be dependent on if you're pest or not,
yeah,
right?
that's a good point.
So
So
to that
go to
point,
our,
I feel like we should start tracking that pretty high up.
so we want to private using pest equals, I guess we just say false by default.
Yeah, that is our default behavior for it.
Yeah, that's true. So then, like you say, we can put this up pretty high now because it's all right. So it'll be this using pest,
Yeah.
and then
So short of the sentence case, let's just change those other two and see if how much farther we get.
oh, yeah, yep, cool, cool, cool. So
Those
if we
placeholders.
go to our placeholder, one of these ones, right. So if we say this using pest, hey, look at that. We have got some code in there.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious then whether or not if we can quickly, if we can fix this,
I
run
would
the
let it generate
method.
the normal response and then we can call sentence case on it. Because we have a sentence case already in our string helper.
Okay, I was thinking inside this method there, right? So like if this using pest, we can say return. Let's just say if we're not using pest, we'll return the name. Otherwise, we'll return.
I did that in another live stream when we were working on the pest converter. You can actually
Nice.
pass a different delimiter to snake,
To snake, yeah.
but there were some nuances about it where it didn't totally get the sentence right on any arbitrary string, right? Like you couldn't just pass in
Okay.
studly and
Yep.
get a sentence. Um,
Mm,
so it's a little it catches some more of those edge cases. So I left it is the point.
okay. Alrighty. So let's have a look at these tests now. Destroy. There we go. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. So the main problem with this one now is the form request.
So let's
So that
just
one should
make
actually
that
be pretty
method.
straightforward
Yeah.
because that one has
So
this
we've
form
got
request test case.
we got 10
So
minutes, less than 10 minutes. Let's do
less
it.
than 10 minutes to go. Okay. So for the time being, it's still going to use all this stuff here.
Yes.
So we can kind of like, yeah, it's a
I
little
would
bit
I would
annoying with this
just
one.
I would just straight it looks like we don't even use the test case stub here. We just
No,
it's kind of a
exactly. That's what I
one-off.
mean.
So I would just write the one-off.
Write the one off. All
It's
right. Are we
ugly,
going to
but
say if this using pest and put it first or this not using
yeah.
pest and put it last?
Yeah. Yes. Let's get it passing. We'll refactor all this stuff
Cool. So if
later.
this using pest, we'll pop the pest one in here. try it.
Those double backslashes were like throwing me off.
So update validates with a form request. I mean, it looks
That
right.
looks pretty good. Let's see what you have. All right, so there's no line break on
There's
that.
no line break at the end of that one. Yeah.
So somewhere we're picking up an extra line break in Pest for some reason. That's strange. We'll come back to that. And then the other thing's the indent. So I don't think it's worth worrying about at the moment. Like extra line breaks aren't the end of the world. So I think what we can do is we can probably stop here. I think this is pretty good. Let's commit up what you have, and then maybe off stream we'll fix whatever fixture you might have, or sorry, whatever test case you might have accidentally dropped in the conversion. And then at that point, it's really just line break issues, which we can clean those up as we clean up the code, since we were just kind of willy-nilly throwing some stuff in there. And yeah, hopefully maybe next week sometime we can launch this out there.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, we'll keep cleaning that up. See ya.
Indeed. Thanks for checking in.